How you guys doing? I'm Victus. Today I'm going to be showing you how I build my panels. I've had a lot of questions about how I build my panels because I build my own. And if you know any of my art, then you know that my paintings are large, quite larger than most. I know offhand that if you were to buy these panels at Hobby Lobby or online, that they would cost well over $100. But through a lot of trial and error, I've been able to figure out a way to build my own panels at just about any size for around $10. So, you're gonna need some basic tools. You're gonna need a saw, tape measure. You're gonna need like a drill, one that you can put like a Phillips bit in or whatever you usually drive your screws, and a staple gun. And the rest of it is household stuff. So here's what I did. I go to Lowe's, I buy these. These are, I think they're technically called shimming sticks. And what they're used for is something with shimming with the walls and drywall. But these are like $1.15 a piece. They're 8 foot long, or 10 foot long, I'm not 100% sure. But they are less than $2 a piece. So for this example, I'm gonna do my dimensions come out once the panel's built. It's 3 foot wide. I'm not exactly sure what the height is offhand, but I've already got these marked out. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna cut these to length, which I've already got them marked out. And so for the size of this panel, I made my measurement at 37 inches. So I've got 2 sticks of wood, cut them at 37 inches. So then I have 4 pieces of wood. And there's your top and long sides and your short top and bottom. So we'll go ahead and cut those and sure to wear safety protection stuff. Alright, so I've cut my sticks of wood. Now there's a couple little technical things you need to know. They're simple, but once you understand them, it makes things a lot easier. So when you cut a piece of wood, so this is the short one. So these two were like this. So they came from the factory with 2 edges that were already cut. These are what I like to call factory edges. And these edges are going to be perfect. The cuts are always perfect because that's the way the factory made them. So the factory edge, then you have the cut edge, which is the edge that I just cut. So what we're going to do is we're only going to use our factory edges. So that way when we put our pieces of wood together, they're going to go together square. And that was a problem I ran into a lot. So we have a factory edge here. What I want to do is flip it over. So here's my cut edge, factory edge on this stick. I'm going to put them together like this. So when the screws pull down, you're at a perfect 90-degree angle. It's almost a perfect process because you can't screw up. But depending on the screws you use, you may want to drill a pilot hole. Now I use special screws because I'm just like that. But these screws are decking screws, and just a little bit of experience with construction and decking screws. I think this ran like $5 or $6 at Lowe's. But these screws are meant to hold real tight for long periods of time. But the only thing is these ones have a special head on them. So it came with a special bit to drive them. But these screws are a little larger than small screws. So what you're going to want to do is drill what's called a pilot hole. So just use a small drill bit and drill a hole for that screw to go in. Because if you don't pre-drill these holes, then the wood's going to split and it's not going to hold well. So you can't use just a regular drill bit. You always want to use just a small one. Make sure it's smaller than the screw that you're using. But I have a special kind of drill bit called a countersink bit that it makes a nice little seat for the head of that screw to sit down inside the board so you don't have screws sticking out. So I'm going to go ahead and get these holes drilled. So, and on my factory edge, here's the factory edge, I'll flip this over. My factory edge is going to butt up against this. So I'm going to drill my holes here. And you always want to use, I always use 2, because if you use a single screw, then the board can twist. So. And I just offset my screw holes so they're not in line. And this is the way that I drill all my holes. What they are catty corner from each other. It just gives you a better hole. So all the ends with the factory edge cut, or I'm sorry, all the ends with the cut you just made is the end that you're going to put the screw holes in. So I'm going to go ahead and drill the rest of these and get this put together. Special bit that came with my special screws. You can use any kind of screws you want. They don't have to be like this. They can be regular Phillips head screws, but you're going to want to be at least 3 inches long. I've used 2.5 and they come out. 3 inches, that's for me, for this size of wood, is definitely the bare minimum of what you want to use. Because when you drill through, or when you put your screws in through here, it needs to have enough into the next board to bite onto. So. Got my cut edge with the pre-drilled holes, and here's my factory edge. And if you buy them, they usually have a little sticker on the end of them. Just yank it off. Don't worry about the staple; it's not going to cause you trouble. All you got to do is pretty much butt that up. If it looks like a 90-degree angle, it's going to be a 90-degree angle. Just make sure that your sides are square. Alright, there we go. There's one corner. And like I said before, because that factory edge is up against the side of this board, which is also a factory edge, this is going to be square. So you don't have to worry about using a speed square or making sure that it's even or whatever, because you're not going to have any trouble with that. So we'll go ahead and put the rest of this together. So I've got my 4 pieces of wood screwed together. So just be sure when you're screwing these together that you put your factory edges up against the sides of these boards. Otherwise it won't come out square and your angle's going to be all funny. And then you're going to have a crazy looking panel. This really only took me a couple minutes to screw together. I've got a lot of practice, so if you have trouble with it, don't be frustrated. Take your time, take a breath. It's easy once you understand the basics of it. So, another thing about my art is I can't afford canvas. So what I do, I build these myself, and I don't stretch canvas, I use a bed sheet. Now the bed sheet I use, it's just a regular 200 thread count flat bed sheet from Walmart. It's white. This thing was like $5. So $5 for that, and maybe $3 for the wood. So we're looking at less than $10 for a canvas panel that I'm going to build. That would cost you up to 3 figures at Hobby Lobby. So For the next step, I'm going to show you how to attach your bed sheet. So for this size, and the reason I chose this size, I use half of the bed sheet. So I've already cut this bed sheet in half. So this is half of it. It's ripped, or it's cut. When you look at it, this is half of it, so there's another half that extends out this way. So it's cut down the long side to make it shorter. So, we get started on putting this down. All you need is a staple gun. And through a lot of trial and error, I figured how to do this. And it won't work out right the first time you do this, but that's okay. Bed sheets are cheap. Like I said, $5. So, the thing about this type of panel is it's called studio wrap, which means the canvas wraps around the sides of it. So what you're seeing is this, and in the back, I bring the bed sheet all the way around to the back side of it, making sure I got enough hanging over both sides so I can wrap around these other edges. So, just going to start with the one right there. What I'm going to do is this needs to be tight. It needs to be really tight. And you could pull it down from here, but I like to work it just a little bit at a time. Pull it as tight as you can get it. I'm putting the staple every 6 inches, maybe less. Whatever you want to do, whatever's easier for you, go at your own pace. You just want to be sure that when you're stapling, that the fabric is even all the way across. So I've got this as tight as I can get it all the way across here. So there's one side. Like I said, it's easier than it looks. So I'll show you up close. You want to be sure that this is even all the way across here, because if that's not even all the way across, what you're going to run into is when you go to staple the sides, your sheet's not going to be straight. And you're going to have a crazy ripple in there. Now, some people argue with me about how to stretch this and how to get it pulled right. I don't use a canvas stretcher, I don't do anything fancy that the high-end folks use. I just use a staple gun in my hands. So what I do is I start at one side and then I rotate it 90 degrees and I work down that side. And it does help if you've got somebody that'll give you a hand just to hold it up so you don't drop it. I am going to leave my corners unfinished because there's a certain way you gotta fold them and I'm not 100%. I can't do it 100% every single time, but I did pretty good. So I'm going to start at the corner that I've already stapled. And we'll work my way down. I'm doing just like I did the other end, pulling it tight as I go. Sometimes you pull too tight, these will rip. They're cheap, and the reason they're only $5 at Walmart. So I'm pulling it tight and I'm holding it in place with my thumb. And I'm just going to work my way all the way down the panel. Making sure that this is even all the way across too. It's very important that you keep it tight and you keep it even. pull it tight this way and tight this way at the same time. And that can be a little difficult sometimes, but like I said, work at your own speed. I'm only going to do a couple inches at a time. Once you get it started, it's easier. Third edge, you see I've still got some wrinkles in there. And that's going to stay there until you get to your fourth edge. So just get it as tight as you can. And this way, or this way. Stay in the position to put your roof down. Because if you don't pull this tight, then your canvas is going to sag. Panelbuild.com. And you can use more staples, you can use less staples, just whatever you want to do. Alright, so give me just a second. Alright. Now the last edge. This is the important one. You want to make sure that it's tight all the way around. So the majority of the tension is going to be pulled up this way. Alright? But this is where the even thing comes in. If you're not even all the way across, when you get to your last few staples, you're going to get a crazy wrinkle right here. And there's no way you can get it out unless you take all these staples back out. And like I said, there's a lot of trial and error for me, so learning this part was a little difficult, but it was out of necessity. So I'm going to tilt the camera down a little more so you can see what I got going on. Alright, let's start right here. I'm leaving the corners just like I said. I'll come back to those. There's a certain way you got to fold them. And when you staple, you want your staples to be running along the length of the board, because that's where all the tension is. If your staples are this way, it'll rip out. So always staple like this, don't staple like that, because it'll rip. We're down to the last few staples here, and all I'm doing now is pulling down. You see the majority of the wrinkles are gone now. Pulling down as hard as I can. Straight down. There we go. Sheet staple to a panel of wood. So, camera back up. Alright, now the corners. Corners can be difficult. You can fold them any way you want, but to be honest, people are going to notice if there's just folded over any which way you want. Good first-hand knowledge is a lot of people don't look at the top of the painting, and a lot of people don't look at the bottom. So what I like to do is I will leave the side like this, pull it back so it's nice and flat here, and I will usually fold it over the top. So the top edge is clean, so is the side. But there is a crease there where I fold it, and it's right along that corner. Now, it's going to take some practice to get used to doing this right. It took me about a year before I got really good at this. And I like to staple these 2 or 3 times in the corners. You never know. It's always going to help. No such thing as too many staples. Same thing here. It'll leave the side clean, because that's the side they're going to see. I'm going to move all the slack up to the top, and that's where I'll make my fold. So even if you do have a bunch of ugly wrinkles on the top, odds are nobody's going to see them, because it's the top of the panel. I'm just going to work my way all the way around. Making sure the side's flat and even, and I leave my fold on the top. Corner. Side's nice and flat. Put the fold on the top. There it is. Now all this extra on the back, you can cut that off. I usually do. What I'll do is push that over to the edge where the board is, and I'll cut along the edge of that board. You don't ever want to cut right along that staple line because it'll tear. Now some people will say tuck it under, fold it over, do whatever you want to do. It's all up to you. I usually cut it off because I don't like a bunch of cloth hanging out the back. But again, it's all the way up to you. For this situation, I'm going to go ahead and tuck all this fabric in and just staple it in place. Don't want to roll it up underneath the front because you will see it. So I'm just going to hold this as neat as I can and then staple it back. This part doesn't have to be perfect because nobody's going to see it be looking at the back really. Let's be honest, it's not about building panels, it's about creating art. And if you can save yourself some money by doing it yourself, then you're doing something right. Okay, straighten this back out a little bit. So there's the hard part. Everything's stapled up, everything's good to go. This is nice and tight. You will see some little tiny minor wrinkles in there, but those will go away. Now, to be fair, this isn't the perfect system. You won't get professional quality stuff out of not professional quality materials. So, this material is cheap. The wood is very cheap, and a lot of times the wood is warped. So be careful of the pieces of wood that you pick up. I mean, they're meant to be screwed to a wall. They're not meant to be used for building frames, but I haven't had any trouble with them. I used to use wood that was half as big as this, and I ran into trouble with it warping. So this is 1 inch by 1 inch board, or 1 inch by 1 inch pieces of wood, and I used ½ inch by 1 inch before, and it was nothing but trouble. So now I've got this. What I like to do is I like to hang this up, and I'm going to prime it, and I'll show you how I prime it. And once it's primed and dried, then it reacts just like a gesso piece of canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple screws in the back, just here at the top. Be careful you don't drill the screw in too far, because then it'll stick through your canvas and you get a hole in the front. So, now that I got that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to hang a piece of string up here, and those screws are going to rest on the string. And that way it's up, it's elevated off the ground, so you can get all the edges and all the sides of the panel. If you know anything about art, you know that you've got to paint all the way to the edges, not just the front. So, I'm going to get that panel, I'm going to get that piece of string hung up there, and I'm going to get that hung up. Okay, so I got a piece of string hung up between two screws, and the two screws that are screwed into the back of the panel are hanging on that string. And like I said before, it's there to elevate it so you can get all your edges. Now what I like to do, I like to use a couple pieces of scrap wood, prop it up from behind. What I'm doing is leaning against the wall, making this whole thing tilted and angled. It comes down to a personal preference, to be honest. And what that does is, because it's hanging, it won't swing when you press on it. And this is also the way I paint when I'm at home. So what I'm going to do now is, I have a special kind of primer that I buy. It's a sealing primer. I got this at Lowe's. It's a sealing interior water-based sealing paint. It's got a special name. I think some people call it a PVA primer. $10 for a gallon. And what that primer is it's made to last. So odds are the primer will outlast the life of the painting. So what I do is I saturate the cloth, and I do whatever I need to do to get it saturated. So what I do, I pour some of that paint into a smaller cup. And I have a plastic scraper that I bought from Walmart. Now this thing is like 60-something cents. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this paint on, and then I'm going to work it like somebody would with a squeegee clean the window. And what you're doing is you press it along your bed sheet, it presses the paint in and saturates it completely. So I'm just going to start here. Do whatever I can to push this into the corners. Keeping even pressure. And as you make a pass, you'll press that paint into the bed sheet. Now you won't get all the way to the edge because the bed sheet is softer than the wood that's there. But you can get pretty close. So we'll come back afterwards and we'll cut in with the brush to get those edges. You want to push it as far as you can to the edge. And if you didn't get it all the way to the edge in the first pass, it's okay. Now let's come back and add nothing. And the more you do this, the better you're going to get at it. It takes a bit of finesse, a little bit of practice, but once you get the feel for it, it's not that hard. centers down there, pretty much. You notice I've been scraping my extra and putting it on the side because now I'm going to go back in and brush that in. And this is where having it hung up on the wall is going to come in handy because you're out away from the wall so you can cover all your edges and not get anything on the wall, hopefully. Alright, we got all my edges. I'm going to make one more pass with my scraper, just to make sure I've got all the globs of paint. Easy enough once you get the hang of it. And I'm going to let this hang here and dry. It should take at the most a few hours, but I'll leave it hanging here for a day just to be sure, because you never quite know. So making sure to get underneath the bottom edge and the top edge. Because like I said earlier, most people don't look at the tops and bottoms, and you're likely to forget about it yourself. But I was able to build almost around $100 panel for about $10 for that. And it didn't take me but 30 or 45 minutes. There we go. And it's as simple as that. And if anybody has any questions, you can message me directly through my artist page on Facebook. It's @VictusArt. And I'll be glad to answer any questions or help you along, help you with materials, anything you need concerning this. Just let me know. I'll be glad to help. And the intention of this was to inform other artists that there is an affordable way to build what you need to create what you want. That you don't need to be buying $150, $200 panels to paint what you want. And then this works with any size. You don't have to build it in this size. I built it to this size for demonstration purpose. This is pretty big. You can build them small, and they're a little easier when they're smaller. Just comes down to how much you want to put it, how much work you want to put into it. I've got a lot of experience with this. It took me less than an hour or so. If you're unsure and you're a young artist, be sure to ask an adult for help, especially when it comes to the power tools. The work is easy to do if you know how to use the tools you have. And as an artist, you got to understand that there are options to create what you need to create. You don't always have to take the most expensive route to paint. Art is about creation, sharing your ideas and thoughts. And if you don't have the money to buy a $200 panel, this is a step in the right direction. And $10 is pocket change. So I hope this was helpful and informative. Follow me on Facebook and on YouTube, VictusArt, and give a thanks to A Life in Street for facilitating the space. And I hope I can help you guys with some more information in the future, maybe another informational video. And thanks for watching. I hope you guys learned something. Have a good one.